What is up, Internet? This is Okala, back again with some more Runeterra. If you've stayed in the stream throughout this whole duration, it's probably a little confusing. You're like, why do you keep leaving and then coming back and saying, hey, welcome back to Runeterra? Like, this is the third time we've been through this bit, but every time that I end stream, it cuts off the video, it saves the video footage, and then it allows me to make a short, digestible clip for people on Facebook, people on YouTube, as opposed to having like an hour or 2 hour stream. We just have a segmented hour stream, which allows me to make multiple videos. So that explains why you may feel like you're in the Twilight Zone right now. But yeah, again, we are still playing Runeterra, and we are still playing our handsome Vlad deck because today's quest asks that we play 15 Demacia units, and we still need to win 2 more games. We've won 1, but yeah, 2. We need 2 more wins, and we need to play 15 Demacia units. So, real quick, this deck, it's not really playing. It's not really playing well. I don't like it. It's gone through a lot of iterations. It has potential. But in its current stage, it's just, I don't like it. So I'm gonna make a couple changes real quick. We are going to add Draven to the deck, which, I mean, it doesn't do much. It makes our deck a little more aggressive. I'm also going to add. Let's see, we have 3/6. Let's add another. Instead of Precious Pet, I'm actually going to add Legion Saboteur, which is going to help us push more direct damage to the Nexus. And then we have, let's see, 3, 6, 9. How many 2-drops do we have? 3, 6, 9, 3, 6. 3 drops are looking good. I think we're just going to throw in another 1-drop. I'm going to add in a Plucky Poro, which is a horrible card, but it works well with our Transfusion, which I'll explain if we get the opportunity to use, and it also works well with our Vladimir, which I will explain if we get the opportunity to use. But for now, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We're going to hop right into a game, and we'll figure it out as we go. So we've made a couple changes. I have no idea how they're going to play out. I do like the addition of the Draven for the potential for a more aggressive, more tempo-driven deck. It also allows us to potentially add cards like Vision, which is a card that costs 3 mana to give all of your creatures +1 attack, or if you discard the card Vision, you can then play it for free. So it's a card that is overcosted for its effect, but it synergizes with discard, which is what Draven does. He generates these spinning axes. I'll explain spinning axes if we get the opportunity, which it looks like we are going to have the opportunity to play Draven this turn. I don't know how important it is to have Draven on turn 3, so I'm going to keep him to figure that out, because by keeping Draven, I gave up the opportunity to find a 2-drop, which we desperately needed. So we're missing our turn 2 play right now, which feels really bad. And so what I did there, that's called an open attack. This game works by alternating turns. So if I were to play the Plucky Poro, which is a 1-drop 1/1, pretty lackluster card, it would have given my opponent the opportunity to play a creature, which then would have had the opportunity to block the Legion Rearguard, and we would have missed 3 damage. So I ended up opting out of 1 damage so that we could get 3. Or sorry, I ended up opting out of, I guess, 4 damage so that we could get a guaranteed 3. Or a more certain 3. There's no guarantees, I suppose, in this game. Okay, so there's the turn 2. Which we would have loved to see last turn. Oh my god, if we would have got the War Chef's turn 2 like we would have liked to see, we would have pushed through 4, 5, 6. 6 damage. And also we would have been in better position for the crowd favorite on turn 4. But we do get to see the Draven in action here on turn 3. And I don't really feel comfortable playing a crowd favorite with 2 creatures on the board. Like, we need to see more. So again, another opportunity to open face attack, which gives us potentially 6 damage. And with our opponent having 6 mana and playing P and Z Freeord, there's actually a lot of ways for him to stop this damage from going through. So we are going to play creatures now instead of open face attacking, so that we can get that damage through. Let's play the Crimson Disciple first. We're going to play the Crimson Disciple first because it gives our opponent a turn to play, which gives our opponent a turn to use up some of his mana, so that we can keep our second card that we play, our War Chefs. We can keep that card a little safer by baiting out mana from our opponent. But our opponent doesn't bite. I'm sure he has. I can't keep track of all these cards' names. It's like Arctic Winds or something. We'll see. I'm gonna attack. I'm not gonna guess. I'm just gonna attack and see what happens. But I'm banking on our opponent playing a 6-drop spell that reduces 2 of our minions' attack to 0. Let's see if I got it. All right. So how do we want to split up our attacks? Draven's fine attacking by himself. Legion Rearguard's fine attacking by himself. So yeah, we're gonna do this. By doing it this way, we're playing around our opponent's. I think it's called Arctic Winds. We're basically spreading out the value of our creatures, of our cards, across more bodies. And they're okay. The Harsh Winds. So that's the card I was thinking of. So by attacking this way, again, we spread out our resources, so that we didn't lose too much value to that particular card that we just saw come down. Okay, and here's the spinning axes. Draven, when played or when Draven attacks, he generates a spinning axe. It's a 0-cost spell that says to play, you must discard 1 and then give an ally +1 this round. So again, an aggressive card. I'm not going to use it this round, because I'm not really willing to discard one of our resources to push through 1 damage. So what I will do, though, is that as Draven generates more spinning axes, then I can discard spinning axes to itself, to other spinning axes, and then we're not getting rid of valuable resources. Okay, so the Heimerdinger comes down. That is definitely a threat. We don't really have any way to remove this card, which is something that this deck struggles with. For example, if our opponent doesn't attack with this creature, there's no removal in our deck, so we have no way to get rid of this card. We kind of just bank on pushing through damage before our opponent has any way of setting something like a Heimerdinger up. Okay, so we're just going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually going to play a crowd favorite. Because I have 2 crowd favorites and I only have 6 slots on the board to play cards, I'm going to play 1 crowd favorite this turn and save a space on the board for a 2nd crowd favorite next turn, as opposed to playing the Plucky Poro this turn and then getting maximum value on the crowd favorite following that play. Nothing to it, right? Nothing to it. Not too confusing at all. All right, so our opponent is thinking here. He has 1 mana. There's really actually nothing he can do. There he goes. And end round. So that actually works out just fine. We have 3 mana in reserve. We have 6 mana for creatures and or spells. So we have 9 mana in total, which allows us to do everything that we want to do. We're going to play our 2nd crowd favorite. And that's a big boy right there. 7/6. Our opponent is going to start generating creatures with Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger says that whenever you cast a spell, you're going to generate a mech or a tech For the same, let me just read his ability here. When you cast a spell, create a fleeting turret in hand with equal cost. It costs 0 this round. So if he plays a 5-cost mana or 5-cost spell, which he just did, he's then going to play a 5-cost tech. And you see that he generates a different tech for each mana here. A lot to keep track of. Nothing too crazy. With 2 creatures on the board, 3 mana in reserve, we're not really too worried about anything right now. And actually, we do have the opportunity to level up the Draven, which we might go for. Yeah, let's see what our guy does here. Okay. Interesting that he's going to block the Draven. Oh, perfect. Okay, so our opponent goes all in, right? He used up all his mana, which means that we can play a lot more aggressively because we don't have to worry about any kind of interaction from our opponent. So this is awesome. We're going to level up the Draven, and we're going to get rid of the Heimerdinger. And we're going to push through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. That is nice. Yep, I'm going to use a Spinning Axe to discard a Plucky Poro. Last round we talked about not wanting to use this to discard any of our resources, but now at this point, our opponent's given us a really good opportunity to kind of just go all in. Okay. And looks like there's no way we can get lethal. So we're going to hold on to the Transfusion and the Radiant Strike for following turns. So this is a huge play. Huge play. Our opponent is able to play two techs. He did generate 2 cards with Heimerdinger before Heimerdinger was removed. I'm actually really surprised that our opponent blocked with Heimerdinger. It's good. Feels good. So the Draven does feel pretty good right now. It'll take more games to kind of really get an idea. There's something weird about this game, man. Like whenever you first put together a deck, it seems to play well. And then like as you play more games, it kind of just falls apart, has been my experience. There's like this beginner's luck with decks that you build. And so it's like every deck that I make is amazing at first. And then after like 10 games, it's like this shit just doesn't feel right. Okay. So we don't have any play right now. We are going to burn a lot of mana. 7 mana, or I guess 6. We can have 3 in reserve. But that's okay. We actually don't need to do anything. We have a full board. No, full board. And if this Anivia attacks, Anivia says that when I attack, deal 1 to all enemies. So it will deal 1 damage to all of my creatures. Now when Crimson Disciple takes damage and survives, it will deal 2 damage directly to the Nexus. So this puts him in a tough spot where he can't actually attack with Anivia without taking damage to his Nexus, which he's already dangerously low. Going into the following turn, it appears like we have this game in the bag. It appears like our opponent would really have to have a lot or expend a lot of resources to stop us from closing out the game on the following turn. Especially with multiple creatures with Overwhelm, which any excess damage that I deal to my blocker, it is dealt to the enemy Nexus. Which means that if I attack with a 7/6 and he blocks with a 3/1, it will deal 6 damage to the Nexus. It will deal that excess damage through the creature and to the Nexus. So with multiple creatures with Overwhelm and with our Crimson Disciple on the battlefield, we have a lot of ways to get damage through. Even if our opponent has cards like Harsh Winds or Frostbite. Or sorry, not Frostbite, Flash Freeze. I'll just be making up names to cards. Okay, so the Anivia levels up, nothing too crazy. And with the Brother's Bond, that's even more damage. So yeah, we're just gonna attack with everything in no particular order and see what our opponent has in response. So our opponent is trading everything, and here comes the progress day. Our opponent's digging right now for an answer, and I honestly don't think that there is one. Not for 4 mana, at least. Not for 4 mana. Okay, changing some things around. Flash freeze. Okay, Get Excited comes down. That's going to remove 2 damage. From the board, our opponent is still going to be at negative 10 life, even after this trade. So that's actually game. That's game. And that felt really good. That actually felt really good. Felt smooth. We would have liked to see a creature come down on turn 2, but all things considered, the deck actually played pretty well. Everything else felt smooth. Curves felt good. Good trades. It seemed like we had all the resources we need at the right time. And we pick up another win. We did only play 1 Demacia unit, so we're still a little ways off from completing our daily quest. It looks like we need, what is that? Math would mean that is 7 more units, and 1 more win, and we will be done for today. So thank you everybody for hanging out. See y'all next time. Peace.